you have a need for siding or gutters, they're your place too. Visit roofingservicecompany.com for more info today.
When you're high, you feel different. You think different, you talk different, you draw different, you listen to music different, but you probably knew that. Problem is, you also drive different, and not in a good way. That's why driving high is illegal everywhere. So if you're high, just don't drive. Make a plan to get a sober ride. Because if you feel different, you drive different. Brought to you by NHTSA and the Ad Council.
Victor deployed for the first time to Afghanistan in 2003. At 4 a.m, my phone rang. They said, "I regret to inform you that your husband was wounded in action." Victor sustained a moderate traumatic brain injury. I was doing school full-time, and I was also then caring for Victor. One of the most important elements of caregiving is taking care of yourself. I just didn't want to forget that I also had goals and that I also had a life. What I did is I challenged Victor to meet me halfway. There are almost 6 million military and veteran caregivers across the nation. We have our own journey, and we can fulfill that journey at the same time that we are helping our loved one.
Visit aarp.org/caregiving for a free military veterans guide to navigate your caregiving journey and better care for your loved one and yourself. Brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
Dance like a dad. It's a great way to make a moment with your kids.
First, I hold my hands out like they're on a steering wheel. Then I look over my shoulder. Next, I put it in reverse.
Visit fatherhood.gov. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and the Ad Council.
Start your Sundays off right with Jeff and Nicole Essink on Fitness Fanatics. Jeff and Nicole discuss health and wellness, how to achieve fitness goals, and more through the life of gym owners and gym goers. It's Fitness Fanatics from 9 to 11 a.m. on Sundays on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Live from the heart of Lincoln, America, welcome to Ticket Weeknights on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
All right, welcome in to the Don't Punt Hour. I am Harrison Arns, and on the line, as always, we have Pierson'El coming in on the Allo VIP line, where Allo Fiber, where they understand the importance of exceptional service with a local heart. Pierson'El, how's it going this Tuesday night?
How's it going? Could be better. Not as cold, so I'm not mad.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. Considering it's December 5th, we still haven't really got that extreme, consistent cold anyways. But again, there's yeah, it does, right? Knock on wood, because anytime you say that, well, let's just be real. Come February, January, we're going to get the cold regardless. We'll feel it there, no question.
The worst time of the year. I'm not a fan of it at all.
Yeah, once Christmas is over, no holidays to look forward to, unless you got, maybe Valentine's Day if you're celebrating that one, if you're lucky enough to. But yeah, there's not a lot going on after those Christmas holidays other than Husker football, transfer portal talk, NBA if you're into it. But there's plenty of directions to go this time of year considering Husker football. We don't have any more games to look forward to. So we're really just looking at the next season. And Demorne, I want to just give you some quarterbacks that have hit the transfer portal. And Starter Heyman text line, you guys can join in as well, 402-464-5685. Starter Heyman text line right there. If you guys want to text in, we'll read them, or you can catch us streaming on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, Twitter, and Allo Channel 951. But there's a lot of quarterbacks in the transfer portal right now. I'm sure we're going to get more as the days, hours go on. I'm pretty sure we just had another one just come into Louisville not too long ago from Texas Tech. But there's been some quarterbacks. One that's getting some traction, at least in the Nebraska media, Kyle McCord from Ohio State, junior. So he'd have 1 year of eligibility left. 6'3", 215 pounds, rated as a 4-star, upgraded to a 5-star on the On3, whatever you make of those ratings, with an estimated NIL value of $751K. Again, those NIL numbers, They all seem pretty fictitious to me. How you actually come up with those numbers, that's a debate in itself, but nonetheless, we'll use it. So about a quarter or $750,000 is what they have Kyle McCord's NIL value at. Kyle McCord from Ohio State. Do you like that fit coming from the transfer portal to Nebraska? Because they have been talking to him. You got a lot of coaches at least following him. It seems like there's discussions being had.
That's understand necessarily, and this is the part where everybody, the what ifs, and oh this and let's get that and let's get that and let's get this person. Understand the process of things, and what I mean by that is like, okay, kids trying to get to the next level. Could he come here? Yes, potentially, but you're leaving Ohio State, who in their own right is winning and doing, the things that they have done and everything like that. And it's like, I'm not saying why would he leave that to come here, because I mean, we have our own thing.
Well, I'll tell you right now, real quick, some information. Cam Ward from Washington State. That is the possible reason. Right now he's the number one QB in the portal. Some rumors that he's going to be heading to Ohio State. So maybe that's part of the reason why he's leaving, seeing the writing on the wall. But again, that's all just projections and just small leaks we're getting from the media.
But still, you're saying, he has a year left to go somewhere, hopefully, like hypothetically, Alabama situation, he could look at that, and that's arguably, a championship winning, program and everything like that. He might not, he has 1 year left, to put his best film out there to go pro.
Mm-hmm.
Like, isn't necessarily coming to Nebraska for him what's best for his interest. You know what I'm saying? Like, I get people want him and everything like that, but you have to understand, kids are trying to get to the next level. And I'm not saying that they're not putting or producing kids here. I just don't think, we're at the steps that we need to be to necessarily get those type of caliber players to come here. We haven't been winning for at least at the level, that Ohio State has. But, we're not playing or competing for a conference championship or national championships and everything like that. Is that what's best for him to get him his shot at the next level? That, I don't know. That's on him. If he feels like it is here and everything like that, I'm more than welcome. Love it and everything like that. I'm not, but realistically, like the Bo Nixon situation, he's leaving, the SEC. He was leaving a winning program.
Yep. Part of it though was he was working his way off the field, right?
They were winning, 8 and 9 games, and then you go to something like Oregon that magnifies, what he brings to the table, what he wants to do, and arguably was one game away from pretty much, being in the places arguably that they wanted to be in. So I think a lot of quarterbacks doing that will probably look at, the Bo Nix situation to kind of like, okay, well, is that really, going to help me to get to where I need to be at and everything like that? I'm not bagging on Nebraska or anything like that. I'm just being honest with, going through the process of, trying to get to the next level and doing so and everything like that. Like that, after that year, like that's it. So, I mean, if you are going to leave, where you're, Ohio State was arguably one game away from being where Michigan is at. You know what I'm saying? So are you going to leave that type of caliber to substitute and potentially not go to that? Or, you know what I'm saying, like one of those bigger teams that are a quarterback away, that might be a quarterback away, an Alabama type situation to where, next year, if you bring in a more person that fits what they were trying to do and everything like that might be a better situation for him. So if he comes here, great, lovely.
Well,
But
I will say this much. An hour ago, we do have Nebraska OC Marcus Satterfield and Ohio State transfer QB Kyle McCord are set to meet today, and that was an hour ago. So sometime tonight, and maybe even possibly now, they are in discussions, Kyle McCord and Marcus Satterfield. So there is a chance that it might come to fruition. But if you're Kyle McCord, you'd be looking at the wide receiver core, wouldn't you?
it'd be a bunch of things that I would looking at if I'm a quarterback. The wide receiver position is definitely a piece of it. You know, if you're leaving, you know, one university that could contend for a national championship or, you know, a conference championship, you know, that would be definitely, you know, on the table. So I mean, it's a lot of things, and I'm not saying, you know, Nebraska was probably, you know, a quarterback away from winning 10 games. So do I think we're necessarily there just yet? Not exactly. Do I think we're far from it? I don't think it's too far off. Him coming, you know, it would help, but it's all about, you know, what he's looking for and what he wants. I can't speak for him to say, you know, what exactly that is.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. Why this one's a little interesting for me in particular is because you got Julian Fleming, wide receiver out of Ohio State. He hit the portal. You got Jair Brown, this corner. He hit the portal from Ohio State. In another position, you've got a kicker from Ohio State, a tackle, a linebacker. You have a ton of players from Ohio State hitting the portal. And I think, you know, that's a huge reason. I wonder if it's one of those scenarios where you get Kyle McCord and maybe you do add Julian Fleming to that wide receiver core. If you can get both of those guys, you know, that's maybe how I can see that thing shaking out, if that's what they're thinking. But what do you make of that with Ryan Day, his team? The third year in a row they've lost to Michigan. Do you think there's any reason to panic with all these players hitting the portal? Is there any writing on the wall for Ryan Day, or maybe you even think he's looking to potentially go towards the NFL? What's your thoughts on Ohio State right now and the plethora of players hitting the portal?
And I don't think it's a panic. And it's funny because, you know, Michigan was in that same situation.
Yeah, that's a good point.
2 years ago when everybody was like, well, is Harbaugh, you know, really that person and everything like that. And it's speaking from experience and being in that situation. Okay, you could fire, you know, Day or do whatever. And who do you get to replace that? Nebraska's still going and figuring out, you know, spiraling from their woes from, you know, the Bo Pelini situation. So I think Ohio State would probably be more cautious and kind of understanding of things. The portal stuff and, you know, the NIL, where people, you know, feeling like that they deserve a lot more or more than, you know, the next man or something like that. I can't say, but I mean, if I'm not pointing the finger at that the coach is, you know, doing something wrong or there needs to be a change, because you've been in, you know, these top games or these close games with, you know, Michigan, with, you know, Notre Dame, with, you know, those top teams. So I mean, they're not, something's missing, but like it could just be, you know, that was just Michigan year. That, you know, that was a recruiting class that, you know, that had been together for a couple of years, and that, you know, connection and everything like that is just strong, and it just might be, you know, that time right now. You know, football is a game of, you know, swings and everything like that. So if I'm Ohio State, if I'm Ryan Day, like, there's no panic, because not many universities are continuously winning, you know, 10, 11 games, 12 games a year. And I mean, you lose one to not go to the conference championship, but I mean, you've been putting guys in the league, you know, you've been developing guys. Guys have been, you know, chasing their dreams with, you know, going to the next level. I don't think it's a panic right now. Now what to fix, I'm not too sure.
Yeah. I wouldn't, like, if I'm a Ohio State fan, I'm not panicking either. And again, you talked about it, right? It's not like you don't have any hardware to hang up to get those new recruits. You just sent CJ Stroud and Justin Fields to the league, and CJ Stroud right now is on pace to break the rookie record for most passing yards in a rookie season. And CJ Stroud is right now kind of one of the darlings in terms of like the young QBs in the league. Like, his ceiling is really, really high. I think people are curious to see how it turns out. And you're still wide receiver. You're still sending Marvin Harrison Jr. You have plenty of credibility that I don't think you need to hit the panic button. But I do want to keep bringing up some more of these quarterbacks And just if you like the fit, if you kind of like the idea of maybe if we can't even get a big player, some of these other quarterbacks, but I'll give you one more big one that's kind of being talked about a lot at ad nauseum, and for good reason. It seems like it would be a great fit. And we have a guy at the University of Nebraska Lincoln in an internship program with Trev Alberts and Adrian Martinez that even be able to speak on playing with said Will Howard, quarterback from Kansas State, hits the transfer portal. You have an inside guy that you can even ask, what's his buy-in? What's his mentality? How does he go about the game? What was it like playing with him as a leader? Because you got to imagine, that was an interesting situation with Adrian gets hurt. Will Howard starts playing, and he played really, really well and stepped onto the field immediately. And it gives you a lot of confidence. What do you think about Will Howard? Right now, he's got just over $500,000 NIL money. And again, I don't know how much you want to look into that, but the numbers are out there. Maybe one day we'll see how accurate those really are. But nonetheless, about $500,000 in the transfer portal, according to On3 from Kansas State. What do you think about the 6'4" senior? So again, this will be last year of eligibility for him. Will Howard coming in from Kansas State.
I know who he is. I'm not necessarily too familiar with, his type of style, especially, with playing in the Big 12. A lot of those offenses down there are, like gunslinging.
Yeah.
And just, it's wide open.
Kansas State was a little bit different, though. They had a little more kind of grinded out style to them. They could throw it around the yard, but they definitely respect that run game for Kansas State, at least. With the rest of the Big 12, you're right.
I think, it would, like I said, it all depends on, what, the kid is looking for or looking to do and everything like that. But he might want to stay home close to home and everything like that with, Adrian, he left and he didn't go too far.
Yeah, he's originally from Pennsylvania.
I think that fit, honestly, would be better because it's, it's not the $1 million guy and you got to do this, and it's not a whole bunch of other stuff, that comes with it. Or there's not a lot of, outside distractions that come with that. I'm not saying he's exactly the perfect fit, but that type of, guy to where, he's good, he's an elite, guy that can make things happen or do things. It's not too big of an, I feel like, leaving Kansas State to coming to Nebraska is definitely a step up. It's in a harder conference, you're adding, and especially with next year's, schedule and everything like that, you're going to be playing, some of these top universities and everything like that versus, playing in the Big 12 where you might not see, it's not as strong as a, conference. So, that might be better to help him out to get to the next league, to the next level and everything like that. So, that's more realistic looking at it necessarily than the Ohio State guy. But like I said, it just all depends on, what the kids want, what they're trying to do, with, the last stamp or last staple of their careers in college.
Yeah, absolutely. And just a few more big names. We won't go through all of these here, but obviously Dillon Gabriel in the portal, not betting on him to land at Nebraska. DJ Ukulele, he's coming from Oklahoma. Oregon State, not Oklahoma. Coming from Oregon State, he's in the portal. High NIL value number on him as well. And then you got your own Michigan State QBs. Michigan State QB room completely depleted itself. You got Hauser and Levitt. They also both joined the portal today. So pretty much that Michigan State room quarterback, that quarterback room is just completely depleted over there for Michigan State. But looking at these real quick, just to get a number, what do you think Dillon Gabriel's supposed NIL value is? If you had to take a stab at it and using Matt Rule's $1 to $2 million range, where do you think Dillon Gabriel falls?
I'll probably say to the lowest 900K, to the highest probably like 1.3, 1.2.
1.2 spot on. Yeah, he's listed at $1.2 million right now, which is just insane. And I don't think Nebraska, again, I don't think you'd be able to get him even if you had the money. He's going to want to go. He just came from Oklahoma, who, in my opinion, as long as they had a bad season, yeah, you came up short in the Big 12, but like he's still to me the most perplexing case, because if you're Dillon Gabriel, isn't next season exactly what you'd want? Because you're going to be in
I
the SEC.
I don't understand him leaving, and I don't know if it's something with the coaches or they're going a different way or something like that. But I mean, he stepped in and done what he's done over the last few years and has looked good doing it.
Mm-hmm.
So that hurts Oklahoma.
Oh, big time.
More than anything.
Yeah, it's just really curious case to me. I think he's, one of the more curious quarterback hitting the portal. Definitely the biggest surprise so far. With a lot of these other guys, it makes sense, right? You played well at your position and you want to go to a higher, more respected conference or a Power 5, or if you're Georgia, the Brock Vandegrift, you're just not playing. You're a 5-star coming out of high school and you sit the bench. So that's why you're heading out of Georgia. But yeah, Dylan Gabriel still one that I'm kind of scratching my head at, but we'll see where he ends up. Who knows? He could even end up right back at Oklahoma. I wouldn't be surprised if there's conversations and he ends up back at Oklahoma, because might be a team that pays for him. But
you can take your name out of the transfer portal and act like nothing happened. Like,
yep,
just like that.
Just like that.
That's crazy. Wow.
Yeah, it is pretty crazy. I mean, we've had that before with players that hit the portal and we bring them back in.
I don't know how that would go over, with the team or guys that's in there, because it's like essentially, you're walking away from the team. Like, you don't want to be there. Like, it's not.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, after you've been there going through stuff with people and everything like that, I understand. If the Georgia situation, if you got 3 5-star QBs, and I get that, like, perfectly fine. But a situation, where you're at the start and you want to walk away for something and it might not, be what you want, and then you kind of come back around. That's the part of this transfer portal stuff I don't understand, and that they gotta kind of do a better job of things with.
Yeah, I'm with you there. And we got to throw it to break here, but the morning I want you to think about this one, just about some of the dangers of the portal, maybe some of the things that you've kind of seen. Because you think about it, every year you have X amount of players hit the portal, and not every player gets a home at the end of the day, or at least they do get a home, but they have to go on as a walk-on because all the scholarships got eaten up. So we'll talk about that, maybe some of the negatives that these players have to keep in mind when they are looking at that transfer portal. And also, without even naming a name for a quarterback, what is Nebraska really looking for at that position? Is it a guy? Is it a pocket passer, a dual threat? Or is it, because to be honest, we still don't really know what the Nebraska offense is supposed to look like. I highly doubt that the leading rusher is meant to be the quarterback. And in year 2, if it is, I might be worried if our leading rusher is the quarterback once again in the second year, unless, somehow we go crazy year and we win 10 games, then I'll probably shut my mouth. But nonetheless, we'll talk about that on the other side. This is the Don't Punt Hour. We got DeMornay Pierson'El on the Allo VIP line. Don't go anywhere.
Integrated Life Choices has been inspiring opportunities for individuals with disabilities for more than 15 years in Lincoln and across Nebraska by offering a number of services. From group homes to independent living resources and job training, you'll find the support that allows people to live fulfilling lives. They're also hiring. If you're looking for a rewarding career supporting people with developmental disabilities, you can check out open positions along with learning more about services at ilc.net. Integrated Life Choices.
You're counting on your team to win, so why not prove it? At Warhorse Sportsbook, their win is your win. Put your money where your mouth is on nearly every sporting event. Use the Warhorse app to check odds and build your bets before placing your wagers in person at Warhorse Casino in Lincoln or Horseman's Park in Omaha, including live in-game betting. No bets, no glory. Wagers may only be placed on Nebraska-based teams when played outside the state of Nebraska. Must be 21 or older to gamble. Gambling problem? Call 1-833-BET-OVER.
Whether you're booking a trip to Lincoln for a football game or a volleyball weekend, the Scarlet Hotel at Innovation Campus is the place for you. The Scarlet Hotel is special on many levels, from the delicious Well and Good restaurant on the main floor to the coolest rooftop patio bar in Lincoln, the Barred Owl, on the top floor of the hotel with great views of the city and one of the coolest drink menus. Book your stay or book a staycation today at scarlethotelnebraska.com.
We're bringing heaven to Lincoln with a waffle unlike anything you've ever experienced. Heavenly Waffles combines an incredibly fluffy recipe packed with protein and a medley of angelic toppings. To elevate the experience beyond your typical waffle and syrup, take the opportunity to try out this divine creation and pair it with a coffee from the mill as we celebrate Heavenly Waffles Wednesday from 8 to 11 a.m. at the 93.7 The Ticket studio.
Enjoy some Heavenly Waffles this December 6th at the 93.7 Ticket Studio at 1040 O Street. Parking available along 11th Street or in nearby garages.
The Southern Pecan Cake from Beatrice Bakery. They don't just let you call anything Southern, especially when it's baked right here in Nebraska. There are standards you have to meet, like a rich, decadent, moist caramel cake? Check. Bursting with too many large pecans to count? Check. Big enough to share with the whole group? Check. But delicious enough that you won't want to share? A big check on that one. The Southern Pecan Cake, the newest cake to the Beatrice Bakery lineup. Try it for yourself at Beatrice Bakery. Online at beatricebakery.com. Welcome to our world of yum.
Are you working in or looking to get into the electrical construction industry? The electrical workers of Local Union 265 are now hiring licensed journeymen and apprentices and are offering great pay and benefits. Call Mike at 402-875-1034 to apply. Start your electrical career today.
Introducing the Planet Fitness Guide to getting that post-workout glow. Step 1, what's your why? More epic energy? Better sleep? Blow off steam? Step 2, join Planet Fitness for just $10 a month and get moving. Go cardio crazy in our clean and spacious clubs, or get down with some dumbbells and strength equipment. Step 3, bask in that post-workout glow. Join Planet Fitness today for just $10 a month. It's glow time. See club for details.
Introducing The Outlet by Sartor Heyman. The Outlet brings you luxurious Sartor Heyman quality jewelry at unbeatable prices. Shop our expansive inventory of overstocked merchandise and a vast estate collection that just hasn't found its home yet. This is your chance to own stunning designer jewelry at a fraction of the cost. Elevate your style at The Outlet by Sartor Heyman, where luxury and affordability meet. Downtown at 12th and O or online at sartorheyman.com.
This is former Husker and NFL linebacker Jay Foreman. For years, I've suffered from degenerative problems in both of my ankles, but thanks to a thorough and thought-out plan provided by Advanced Medical Imaging, I was able to get my life back with the least amount of pain as possible. While working through multiple options, the team of physicians at Advanced Medical Imaging were there to answer any questions I had. If you're experiencing any pain at all and want to get your life back, go to amimaging.com or give them a call at 402-484-6677. Advanced Medical Imaging, located at 7601 Pioneers Boulevard.
Your Christmas list changes a lot as you get older. Dreams of video games, remote control cars, and baseball gloves turn into dreams of shoes. You know, practical things. Brown Shoe Fit is the king of shoes in Lincoln, with brands like Sorel, Ugg, Brooks, Hoka, and more to make you fashionable and comfortable. Grab a new Ridge wallet or buy 3, get 1 free on smart wool socks for the ultimate stocking stuffer. And don't forget a reliable gift card for that hard-to-buy person in your life. Brown Shoe Fit at 66th and Q in Lincoln.
Back to the Ticket weeknights on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
All right, welcome back in to Ticket Weeknights. I'm Harrison Arns on the board. We got DeMornay Pierson'El calling in. Host, as always, on the Allo VIP line, where they understand the importance of exceptional service with a local heart. But we ended up the last segment just going around the QB transfer portal. But we did kind of talk about how you can just pull your name right back out of there. We do have Jim from YouTube saying after you take your name out of the portal, you just have to look out of the side of your eyes nonchalantly and just pretend like nothing happened. And that's probably honestly what they do, because that's an awkward conversation to have. Talking about why you even left in the first place, but it does happen. You see it more often than you would actually think in college football, even here at Nebraska at times. But nonetheless, if Nebraska is getting a quarterback from the portal, which seems like they are, which I agree with, you definitely need to go get a quarterback. Even if you don't name him the starter, just get competition in the offseason. That is what we were lacking with the injuries going into the season. This year, you got to get some more talent back there, especially, with Harburg, his injury background. Purdy, he's been pretty banged up consistently. And obviously, some of the other quarterbacks, we just need an upgrade at that position. Same thing with the wide receivers. But If you were to grab a quarterback from the transfer portal without even looking at NAL, without even looking at names, what kind of quarterback do you think Nebraska should go for? Is it a dual threat? Is it a pocket passer? Or are you not even looking that far and just more about the mentality of the quarterback?
I feel like it's a little bit of both. I would say more so of a not necessarily a dual threat guy, but a guy who can run it.
Right.
You don't want just a pocket passer guy and that's it. Especially like with the woes of the offensive line. You kind of want to have best of both worlds. Hopefully, an accurate guy, a smart guy, a good enough talented, from the shoulders up to understand, where to go to pick the matchups or to, get, guys in to get the team in the right position, on the play to do stuff and everything like that. And then if he has to do it with his legs, he has the ability to do it. But I mean, hopefully it's not called upon often, but you rather have that in your back pocket than not.
Yeah, I mean, I'll be honest, I'm just looking for a game manager. Doesn't even have to be the greatest athlete, but like you said, enough because I'd like to keep that option game in the back pocket. You don't need to be an absolute athletic stud to run that system. You just have to run it very well and you have to execute it well because half of the option is getting the guy to buy or to sell out on, whether you're faking the pitch or keeping it yourself. You don't necessarily need the greatest athleticism to fake a guy out to move the chains for a first down or, do go for a big gain. Maybe you fake the first guy out and the pitch is there later. But again, I don't think you need a Jeff Sims type speed or a Harburg type build to kind of run that system. I'm just looking for a game manager. And I think that's where Will Howard would probably be one of your better options because it seems like it fits his style, or even a Kyle McCord, right? Like he was essentially for Ohio State for a big part of the season, kind of just a game manager as they're trying to figure out, what they had in him. And he did a pretty good job at it. He was obviously kind of growing on the job. And when you have a Marvin Harrison Jr. out there, makes your job a hell of a lot easier. Yes. So that I will say this much. If we do get Kyle McCord, I don't know how good he would have looked on this Nebraska offense because there wasn't a lot of open guys to throw to at times. We talked about the offensive line, not entirely their fault, but you get banged up. You're going to show some pressure at times. If Kyle McCord played at Nebraska last season, I don't even know if we're really even looking at that guy because I don't think the numbers would be great. It was just a tough year, with Marcus Washington going down. Lloyd and Coleman played well, but more towards the end of the season when it was kind of a little too late there. We really needed them down the stretch in those 4 games, which Lloyd showed up for us. But nonetheless, you still were just constantly building up on that chemistry. And I don't know if Kyle McCord is the fit. I feel like you go for McCord if you're trying to grab some of the other guys with him, like what we did with Casey Thompson. And we got Marcus Washington on top of that, bringing both those guys in from the portal. I'm assuming that's that kind of route. But yeah, I'm just looking for a game manager. I don't need the best athlete, especially the way we've seen Matt Rule likes to run this team. You're going to use the entire game clock for pretty much each snap. You're going to take your time. You're still going to lean into the run a lot more. At least it seems like they want to do that. And I hope they're not looking at their quarterback to be the leading rusher. And again, I don't think they are. I think that was just a circumstance of everything that was happening around him with the injuries.
Exactly. I think coming into it, they understood, what was on the roster, and they kind of got a guy to, if it all, went bad, to where at least he could do something with his feet. But that didn't necessarily pan out exactly how anybody thought. But yeah, I agree with you with the manager of the game, somebody who can
not turn it
like
over.
I just said, it's not just understand, what's going on, has been in the position of games, has the experience of it. That's not, I'm not saying that they were panicking or just, when a live bullets, they've been in situations before. They played a lot of games. They understand how stuff is supposed to go and everything like that. When you got, a quarterback that's a lot more calmer and a lot more confident and everything like that, everybody else, relaxes and can put their best foot forward and understand that, things are going to be okay. So I don't think it's necessarily about getting the big name splash. I think about necessarily just, getting a guy that fits what you're trying to do and that can do what you need him to do mentally and athletic ability, point blank, period.
Yeah, right there with you. Again, just for me, it's just literally get exactly what you're talking about. You don't need to get the biggest name out there. You just need a guy that, again, like if we're not leading the Big Ten in turnovers, we're going bowling this year. It's as simple as that for me. It's like the turnovers just killed us this year to an unrealistic level, and we still won 5 games. Can you imagine if we had a quarterback that was just, it sounds mean to say this, and this is nothing against Harburg, because I'm not going to beat up on Harburg, learning on the job. The sim stuff, I just don't quite understand. That seems like not the right system, a mental thing. It's just something happened where he got completely, just seemed frantic out there at times, or a little lost. But we just had a team that turned the ball over an average of 2 times a game. We're bowling. It's that simple. With the injuries on the wide receiver, with the injuries at the offensive line, with the injuries at the running back room and the quarterback, like, it's that, just don't lead your conference, or let alone college football, and turnovers, and we're bowling, and we're not having this conversation. Well, actually, we still would be having this conversation because that room needs an upgrade nonetheless. But I do want to see a competition. So I think you grab one. Do you have a limit? Do you grab one or 2?
I think you grab 2.
Okay.
I think you grab 2.
Yeah.
2 quarterbacks for sure. You don't know what Sims is going to do. Obviously, I don't think, they made it clear that, moving forward. Outside looking in, this is, speculation, just of understanding, the football side of stuff. I don't think he's coming back. The Purdy situation, he could potentially leave if he wanted to, or, he could stay and feel like, okay, like, yeah, I can do this and everything like that.
I hope he does stay. I really do.
His health, you really don't know. If, Harburg wasn't in the situation he was in, do we even see Purdy, like, period? So you don't really know there. So, I mean, outside looking in, you went the other way with the situation of not, having another guy in the room of what you could have had, and, that kind of burnt you. Why not? You got a young quarterback coming out of Bell West. Why not, if Purdy isn't the guy, or if Purdy loses it, in camp or something like that, you also have another veteran guy that can, mentor, your quarterback of the future, if that's what you're putting all your eggs into and everything like that. So you're not just covering, or putting all your eggs in just one basket for this year and everything like that. It's kind of working out to where what's happening now was taken care of, and what's to happen in the future, he has a better understanding, because it's they're all in a room, they're all at different experiences, that both the guys would been able to play at this level and everything like that, and you can learn a lot from your teammates and whatnot. So why not have that aspect in the room versus not? You know what I'm saying? So I think they should get 2. That's just me speaking and looking at what things are, because you're going to be down 2 quarterbacks, I think.
Yeah. How much are you looking at eligibility? Obviously, Daniel Kalen's in that grooming phase. Are you even looking at quarterbacks with 1 year eligibility left? Or are you looking for a quarterback with maybe 2? How important is that for you? Because Will Howard to be a 1 year kind of guy is what I'm asking.
I would say 1, just because of the Kalen situation. Because I don't know if he's coming in early or not. I don't know if he'll have spring ball. I'm assuming he's a pretty smart kid.
I'm sure he will. Yeah.
I know him personally. Just typically, quarterbacks typically get in the systems earlier. So he might be a December graduation of high school, leaving school and being in college, for spring ball. I think that'll help develop him and whatnot. It just depends on like what they're looking at, but I would get a 1 year guy more than likely.
Yeah, and especially if you get two of them, you can really build up that competition and maybe get a 1-year guy. And if you're lucky, get a guy with maybe a couple of years of eligibility left. But I don't want to like, oh, we have to go for this guy because he's got 3 years, 2 years left, because we're talking about the transfer portal. You can put your name in, pull your name right out of the hat. There's still no guarantee you're going to be able to keep that guy around forever. So you kind of always have that portal there. It's good and bad, right? You can go there to replace, but guys, you can't really bank. Even if he has 3 years left, who knows how long he's actually going to stay, especially if he loses that quarterback competition. But say we get what we want in the quarterbacks for the portal. What's that next position group you think Nebraska football really needs to lock in on? Again, not to set the development and the foundation. That needs to be done with the high school recruits. And I do think Matt Rule has done a good job about that. And I think he understands that. And we've seen it with the Mel Tucker situation, that Michigan State team that shocked everyone, is an all transfer portal team for the most part. They had an awesome season, and the next season they stunk because all those portal players left. They all had short eligibility, and they went right back to reality because they weren't developing their younger players. But for Nebraska, again, not development, but the Band-Aid. You need Band-Aid guys to kind of keep this team in winning contention next season. In my opinion, what's that next position group that you really need to target?
It's a toss-up between wide receiver and running back. I wouldn't be mad with either or. You have a guy who's a senior in Grant. He's leaving. He's not going to be back anymore. And then you got another kid for 2 years straight. He's had an injury. So, I mean, that's not really – and then, your fourth string guy really, going forward, it's probably the guy. So I would probably say running back over receiver. I would still like to see a veteran receiver added to the bunch. I think that'll help out the young guys coming up, and giving your quarterback a seasoned guy to make plays happen. But I think it's running back. It's not now. The more I'm thinking about it, I think it's a running back, and it's not close. Just because you have one for sure guy that you can rely and depend on, and you don't really know outside of that.
Yeah, I'm actually with you there. I was wide receivers at first, but we have young guys that stepped up this year. We've actually seen them play, and you still want to probably get maybe a couple wide receivers from the portal. But the running back group, Emmett Johnson's the guy, and he's fourth string. So it's like we burned through our entire running back room through injuries and just fumbling issues. And obviously, Emmett Johnson, he's going to be the guy for us next year, at least maybe leading the competition. It'll be open during fall, spring, but it will be curious to see. I think they probably go for running backs. There's a player from Miami, blanking on his name right now. I know they're really high on him. They're looking at him. He's only a 3-star, but there's a long time connection going all the way back with the running back coach. So we might have a chance for him. I'll look him up in the break there because I know there's serious conversations about that. But it's kind of funny, right? Because he got benched in Miami because of fumbling prop-ups. So maybe you don't go that route. But they're looking at him. Nonetheless, could be interesting. We'll keep talking about it here on the Don't Punt Hour. We got DeMornay Pierson'El on the Allo VIP line. Shout out Allo for sponsoring the show and just the ticket in general, as always, and giving us great service out here. We'll throw it to break. Don't go anywhere. One more segment of the Don't Punt Hour. I'm Harrison Arns. DeMornay Pierson'El, host as always, calling in. We'll talk to you guys in a little bit.
Don't miss the most innovative ag technology that exists today on display in Lincoln at the Nebraska Ag Expo, the second largest indoor ag show in the U.S., December 5th, 6th, and 7th. Check out all the latest technology in row crop and livestock production, robotics, and more at the expanded Innovation Hub. Mark your calendar. That's December 5th, 6th, and 7th. Register online at NebraskaAgExpo.com to get your tickets in advance and save $5. See you in Lincoln. The Nebraska Ag Expo is sponsored in part by Farm Credit Services of America and Ag Direct.
Whether you're booking a trip to Lincoln for a football game or a volleyball weekend, the Scarlet Hotel at Innovation Campus is the place for you. The Scarlet Hotel is special on many levels, from the delicious Well and Good restaurant on the main floor to the coolest rooftop patio bar in Lincoln, the Barred Owl, on the top floor of the hotel with great views of the city and one of the coolest drink menus. Book your stay or book a staycation today at scarlethotelnebraska.com.
Rashawn Jackson here for Bauer Infrastructure, a veteran-owned local company proudly serving Lincoln, Lancaster County, and the surrounding areas. Bauer provides quality work at an affordable price, and they're growing rapidly. If you want to experience a career with a fast-paced, family-friendly environment, visit BauerInfrastructure.com. They have top-of-the-line benefits, year-round work, even through the winter. Bauer, usher in the new era of infrastructure to an area near you. And as always, go Big Red.
John Henry's would like to remind you, if you haven't already, to unhook your outdoor hoses and check faucets for leaks so your pipes don't freeze. As the official plumber of the Huskers, you know who to call when a plumbing issue arises. From frozen pipes to clogged drains, we can help you protect your home this winter. Give John Henry's a call today to schedule at
435-5555. John Henry's Plumbing, Heating and Air.
This is former Husker and NFL linebacker Jay Foreman. For years, I've suffered from degenerative problems in both of my ankles, but thanks to a thorough and thought-out plan provided by Advanced Medical Imaging, I was able to get my life back with the least amount of pain as possible. While working through multiple options, the team of physicians at Advanced Medical Imaging were there to answer any questions I had. If you're experiencing any pain at all and want to get your life back, go to amimaging.com or give them a call at 402-484-6677. Advanced Medical Imaging, located at 7601 Pioneers Boulevard.
Sandhills Global is hiring. Check out sandhills.jobs for more information. Sandhills is looking to fill hundreds of new openings in sales, traveling support, software development, web design, and more. Sandhills has a professional culture and is fast-paced with a focus on growth, innovation, and leading-edge technologies. Career and internship opportunities are available at our global headquarters in Lincoln, Nebraska. Apply today at sandhills.jobs.
Your home is your empire. Protect it with Empire Fence. Get a free instant quote with the online estimating tool at empire-fence.com. See an upfront estimate with no hidden fees. And Empire Fence can provide privacy and improve the appearance of your home. Keep kids and pets in or out of your yard. Increase security and add value to your property. Visit empire-fence.com now to view the stylish and maintenance-free possibilities for your home and get a free instant online quote. Let Empire Fence protect your empire.
I'm Sergeant Jones with the Nebraska State Patrol. Driving drunk puts everyone on the road at risk. In Nebraska, over 30% of all roadway fatalities occur in alcohol-related crashes, and every one of those could have been prevented. The decision to give your keys to a sober driver could be the decision that prevents a roadway tragedy. Help keep Nebraska roads safe and always drive sober. This message is presented by the Nebraska State Patrol and the NDOT Highway Safety Office.
Back to the Ticket weeknights on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
All right, welcome back in to Ticket Weeknights. I am Harrison Arns on the ones and twos. We have the host, as always, Des Moines Pierson'El, calling in for the Don't Punt Hour on the Allo VIP line. Always want to shout out Allo VIP, or excuse me, just Allo. We get the VIP line over here, but nonetheless, great work as always. We talk about Nebraska football pretty much the whole show as the transfer portal really starts to heat up, and we're seeing these players potentially where they may go as coaches are visiting. We've talked about the quarterbacks. We've talked about the running backs and the wide receivers. Is there anywhere defensively that you actually think we need to hit the portal on? Because that seems like the most sound group, obviously, looking at the season, right? That's the group we can lean on the most. You do lose a few of your key players in Buford, who's going to try his luck in the NFL. But for the most part, you got a lot of depth there. Maybe you're looking at even the D lineman, at the younger guys at the D line, you're feeling pretty good there. At most, I think you're looking at corner or safety. Linebacker. Yeah, that's a good one. Linebacker, losing Reimer, obviously losing Henrich, and then I think Gifford as well. So yeah, you're losing a lot back there. What would you be looking for out of a linebacker?
I think Gifford can come back though. He has a COVID, I think.
You might be right on that one. We do have Neil saying pass rusher. Obviously wants an edge rusher. What are your thoughts on that, considering in this 3-3-5?
I mean, it wouldn't hurt. I'm going just linebacker core from top to bottom. And now if that's an edge guy that you can put that outside linebacker on either side, cool, fine and dandy. I think that's the position where things have got to be locked in a little bit better. You can always use a pass rusher, to disrupt stuff and everything like that. So I wouldn't be opposed to it, but I think the defensive line is all right. I like their numbers coming back. I'm not too sure about the linebackers. The safeties and the corners. I think are fine. You got young players that will be coming in and playing, so I think they'll be fine there. But definitely, that linebacker, the quarterback of the defense. I definitely think you need a veteran guy that's kind of been around and seen some things a little bit more, just to get people lined up in the right front and whatnot.
Yeah, and I'll say this much about the edge rusher. That is always, yes, you want to get those guys if they're out there, but I don't know if I always feel like the edge rusher comes organically with the rest of your D line, right? Because as soon as you have a Ty Robinson, which again, I can't stress how big that is coming back, that's going to take two guys to block, right? That's what's going to open up your edge rushers. If you spend all your money on an edge rusher and nothing's really gotten better inside, that's where you're in trouble, right? Because it's pretty easy to cover the guy if they're not worried about too much breaking through in the middle. If you're rushing, 4 guys and those 4 guys can't ever bust through, then that edge rusher, you can nullify him pretty quick. I felt like that was kind of the case with O'Shawn Mathis. He didn't have a great year for us, and he definitely could have had a better production. But for the most part, we just didn't have a whole lot of pressure as a whole. So it's pretty much left to O'Shawn Mathis and Garrett Nelson to cause all the damage back there. And that was pretty much it. It was easy for opposing teams' offensive lines to account for our rush. This might be a year where it might make sense to actually, as Neil said, go get that edge rusher, because you got some dudes at that defensive line that will demand a double team from time to time. Ty Robinson, probably most of the time. I mean, he's been an absolute unit out there, and I can't stress how big that is, him coming back. We do have one more from Neil here. He says, I agree, De'Mornay Pierson'El, a linebacker who can pass rush, is adequate as well. So again, we'll take a pass rusher any form we can get.
I'm saying linebacker because, in between the tackles, if your down linemen are getting double team and everything like that, it's going to be one-on-one with a linebacker to make a tackle. So that's why I'm saying, whether if that's, coming from the middle and chasing a guy to the edge, or, whether if that's, an outside guy to contain and kind of drop back in coverage or blitz and mix things up, it's like, okay, the line will be, handled. But what happens, if anything gets past them and you need, a person to make a play or something like that, that's why I say, that position is like, I'd rather have that taken care of and squared up. The back end will take care of the back end, so I'd rather, your linebackers make your tackles than your safeties.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm with you there. And again, I think the defense, if we got a big portal acquisition on the defensive side of the ball, that's like the cherry on top, right? That's not your biggest focus, but it would be nice. You can even add some more depth there, but you feel good about the development on the defensive side. And as Jim once again pointed out, he's been locked on today. Rule, he said we have some real corners on defense. Maybe we don't need anyone from the portal on defense. And that could be a fact as well. I don't think it's the priority for him. Again, it's probably quarterbacks, as De'Mornay said, running backs, wide receivers, and then you're probably looking at that defense. But nonetheless, we'll get out of here. This has been the Don't Punt Hour, but Ticket Weeknights goes on. Don't go anywhere.